IIUM, Yang Berhormat Senator Tuan Isaiah D. Jacob, Datuk Dr. Syamrahayu Abdul Aziz, Associate Professor, Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Laws IIUM, Brother Jabir Meftah, Founder and President of Youth Care Malaysia. Our moderator for tonight, Sister Farida Hanim, Advocate and Solicitor, Prof. Ruzita Muhammad Amin, Head of Department DSU IIUM, Dr. Shamshina Muhammad Hanifa, Principal Mahalah Sumayah, respected fellows to our August main auditorium. Please remain standing. Now, let us stand for the singing of National Anthem Negaraku, an IIUM song leading the way.
Share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason shall excel, shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we, the Khalifa, we will fulfill the Amanah. Together we make the world a better place. Forever expand the culture of equal. IIUM is to realize the meaning
brothers and sisters, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please watch our video montage for today's program. Tafadhal. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Great. Round of applause to them. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Praise be to Allah as we are showered with His blessings in having today's event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome to EduTalk Issues and Reform. I am Shamsul Haris and I'll be your MC for tonight's event. Together with us, I would like to bid my heartiest welcome to Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, our beloved rector, Yang Berhormat Senator Tuan Isayah D. Jacob, Datuk Dr. Syam Rahayu Abdul Aziz, Brother Jabir Miftah, founder and president of Youth Care Malaysia, and also our moderator, Sister Farida Hanim, advocate and solicitor. Not to forget our wonderful VIP guest today, Professor Dr. Rosita Muhammad Amin, head DSU IIUM. Brothers and sisters, to further bless our event today, I would like to invite Brother Muhammad Faris Haikal bin Bunyamin to recite the dua to bless our program. Tafadhal mashkura.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahilladzi bini'matihi tatimmas salihat. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulina al-amin. وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Praise be to the God, the Lord of the world. Peace and blessing be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and for those who followed his example to the judgment day. Ya Allah, Ya Fattah, Ya Alim. On this blessed night, in conjunction with the EduTalk Issue and Reform, we beseech, see and grateful towards you in favor of all the infinite blessing to us. We seek your blessing for a flawless progress of this event from the beginning till the end. We seek your guidance to steer clear of events that would detrimental the progress of this event. Ya Latif, Ya Rahman, please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayat. Please guide International Islamic University Malaysia to greatness, peace, glory and prosperity in this world and the hereafter. Grant us with a valuable knowledge that will be beneficial to mankind in order to gain your mardatillah. Allahumma ja'al jama'ana haza jama'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'alillahumma fina wa la ma'ana wa la man yatba'una shakiyan wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin, amin, ya rabbal alamin. Alright, brothers and sisters, let's proceed with our event tonight. Before we begin, I would like to brief you a little bit about EduTalk issues and reform. I hope that all of you are energetic maybe and attentive to hear about what our VIPs and our speakers will say later. For your information, EduTalk Issues and Reforms is a groundbreaking initiative to foster insightful discussions on key educational issues and topics in our nation. So it aims to provide a platform for in-depth conversations on crucial educational topics and various aspects of visions for our future. The latest one includes sustainability, community service, as our beloved rector often fights for communiversity, our coup, and any matters on education reforms. So, knowing the background of the program, let's proceed our event today with opening speech. It is my greatest honor to invite Dr. Shamshina Muhammad Hanifa, Principal of Mahala Sumayya, to deliver her opening speech. Please welcome.
The purpose of higher education is to not produce complex men, but rather to create complete men. Al-Atas. Honorable Rector of International Islamic University Malaysia, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Datuk Dr. Syam Rahayu Abdul Aziz, YB Senator Tuan Isaiah D. Jacob, Brother Jabir Miftah, Professor Dr. Rosita Amin, Head of Disability Services Unit IIUM, Sister Hakimah Sakinah, the initiator of Mahala Sumai Talk Show 1.0, 2.0, and now 3.0, Sister Mia Saleha, Program Manager of EduTalk, Sister Nur Fatihah Shahal, President of MRC Sumaya, respected fellows of Mahala Sumaya, dedicated Mahala Representative Committee of Mahala Sumaya, students, staffs, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan and welcome to EduTalk Issues and Reform. Ladies and gentlemen, attending university is not merely about getting to class, but it's about understanding yourself, the nature, and society. Understanding your role to create a better nation. However, this is not an individual battle, as a better nation can only be created with a good policy that will reconceptualize or recontextualize framework such as Sejahtera or SDG, among others. This is an intertwined concept where the education needs to be better to create a man, and a man needs to be better to create a good education. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, besides for the purpose of nation building, seeking knowledge aims to please the Almighty God, to work your way to Jannah. As Prophet said, who takes a path upon which he seeks knowledge, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a path to paradise easy for him. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman sahhala lahu tariqan ilal jannah. That when you walk to seek knowledge, Allah will ease your way to Jannah. How precious is that? Ladies and gentlemen, may at the end of this talk, we all we learn something new. Your time spent here is never lost when perspective is earned. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Shamshina, for that wonderful remarks. So, brothers and sisters, to begin our EduTalk, before I invite our esteemed speakers to the stage with the moderator as well, let me brief you about what will happen in maybe 1 or 2 hours later. So, 3 scopes will be discussed in this forum, I could say. The first one is tertiary education's framework. Second one, tertiary education and autonomy. And also the third one, reforms. Now, before I introduce the speakers to all of you, may I ask, brothers, are you ready? Okay, sisters? Okay, good. I hope that energy stays like that until the end of the session, because why? I don't want our speakers feel like they are speaking to a wall. All right? So I want you to please be attentive and please ask them a lot of questions after this. All right? Now, introduction, one by one of our speakers today. Tan Sri Rector, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Razak, renowned academician locally and across the globe, currently our beloved Rector of IIUM, globally recognized first Asian recipient of prestigious 2017 Gilbert Medal from Universitas 21, well-respected individual, recognition by Academy of Sciences Malaysia, World Academy of Art and Science, and Fellow of the World Academy of Islamic Management FWAIM, tokoh akademik negara. Unbelievable. That's his achievements. Not just that, he is also known for his critical writing in newspaper columns. If I'm not mistaken, Utusan Malaysia, right? Every Thursday, UIAM Berhujah, I read them every week. Since 1995, addressing current events, academics, education, and health. So he also actively engages with SDG framework and advocates for sejahtera principles, the one that you are learning now in IIUM, maybe SCSH, Sustainable Development, and also USRA in Action. He is the proponent in our university. Give a round of applause again to our beloved Rector. Already first speaker, so wonderful. Next one, YB Senator Tuan Isayahdi Jacob, graduate in Business Administration from Stanford College Petaling Jaya, background in Management Consulting, holding the post of Chairman of Biro OKU Parti Keadilan Rakyat, PKR, from 2021 until now. Currently, he is serving also as a senator and proudly advocating on the affairs of people with disabilities throughout Malaysia. A wonderful fight for us and them as well. And I think you may know the next speaker, Dr. Syam Rahayu Abdul Aziz. You may see her in iCall every single day. That's good. She's an undergraduate of LLB and LLBS from this university itself, Doctor of Philosophy in Law, Associate Professor at this university, and also the incumbent institution of the Malay Rulers Chair at University Technology Mara, UITM. Among hundreds of her notable works are Issues in the Enforcement of Islamic Criminal Law in Malaysia and Criminal Procedure in Sharia Courts. Not to forget, she is also an expert in constitutional law, fundamental liberty, Sharia criminal, and many more. So she is the living legend of your kuliah. Give a round of applause to her. And sisters, do you recognize Brother Jabir Miftah? Yes. Brothers, sisters behind, do you recognize Brother Jabir Miftah? That's why you are here, right? Okay. So Jabir Miftah is an undergraduate of UTP, University Technology Petronas, in Bachelor of Chemical Engineering Honours, fluent in 5 languages: English, Malay, Mandarin, Arabic, and Indonesian language. Oh, is it? You wrote it in your resume. I saw it, you know. Oh, level. Okay, there are some levels in that proficiency, I think. It's okay. Scholar of Yayasan Peneraju. And the best thing is, he is a founder of a national organization, Youth Care Malaysia, in his first year in university. Isn't that amazing? Yes, give a round of applause to him. You should question yourself, what are you doing in your first year? Okay, so next one is our moderator, Sister Farida Hanim Bukhari. She is an advocate and solicitor at one of the most prestigious law firm in Malaysia, Shen Delamore. She also has an extensive experience in moderating, so she's the best of the best to moderate our discussion today. Give a round of applause to all of our speakers and moderators. Okay, not to waste your time anymore, without further ado, I would like to invite all of our panelists and moderators to the stage and kickstart our most awaited EduTalk. Let's begin. Give a round of applause.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Initially, I wasn't very nervous because I was supposed to sit there. But now you ask me to sit in the middle, I become a bit nervous. Okay. Assalamualaikum, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Sham, for still inviting me. I think this is the third talk from Mahala Sumaya, and also the third time she invited me to moderate, so I couldn't say no, but I think we need new faces after this. Okay, so I think without further ado, the first one I think was about political talk, and the second one was on youth empowerment, and now it's on education and reform. And I think this topic is probably also the most evergreen. It's still very relevant even during my time, and evergreen, ever-changing, and also because we live in a time where access of informations are everywhere. Generation today are not like probably the students in your generation, right? We have access to informations, and students are ever changing. Even the questions of the relevancy of formal institutionalized education system, and some people are questioning it. And of course, I still believe that it's important and must be carried forward. So without further ado, I think you just go to the first line of question. I'm so sorry, let me open my... Okay, there's 3 topics today. So the first one will be on the tertiary education framework. Second one is on the tertiary education and autonomy. And the first one is on reform. So hopefully we can go through each of the questions. And the audience, please give your full ears, and we hope to have some questions by the students towards the end of the talk. So Tansri, without further ado, I will go to you first. Sure. So you mentioned, I think you once wrote that SDG is an intertwined framework rather than an isolated goals in terms of its relevancy in the 5 Ps, which is people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And I think since I was a student, you have always been advocating about this multidisciplinary approach and this transdisciplinary approach as well. So can you explain to us, probably in a simple way, like how do you explain, how is the idea of integration of knowledge is a sustainable solution, especially in today's world where, access of information is everywhere, and what exactly is the goal in education in today's world?
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Greeting of peace, moderator, fellow panelists, brothers and sisters. I would like to express my thanks for this invitation. It reminds me of my student days some decades ago, where issues of this nature are always at the tips and the tongues of students, trying to articulate and trying to understand what's going on. And I'm indeed very delighted to know that Sumaya is very active in this. And there is a third one. I'm sure there are fourth, fifth, and sixth coming along. This is a very good opportunity for us to refresh ourselves and also to understand perspectives. I am probably the oldest generation here, and my perspective perhaps is not as clear as yours, but still there are experiences that I think we can share. As to the question that was asked, so why do we talk about integration of knowledge? Why do we talk about transdisciplinarity? It is because I think initially, if you go back from the word science, when it was taken from the Greek, it was intended to be knowledge as a whole. And there was no division of knowledge the way we understand it now. So science is known to be just knowledge, and we all subscribe to the idea there is one knowledge that all of us might get to know. But then knowledge at that particular point wasn't as abundant as it was now today, and therefore we begin to split from science as a knowledge to science as a discipline. Then you have physics, biology, and then you have biotechnology, and all this splitting goes on and on and on, And it was well described by people like, if I get this right, one of the futurists, and said it's as though they were digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. At the end of the day, we do not know where we start. We can't even see where we begin because we have gone so deep into the ground that we do not connect anymore with where we begin. I guess knowledge at this particular point is that way. I could be a specialist in one small bit of scientific knowledge, and I do not know how to relate that to other things. I'm a science student, and I can testify to that. When we do science, we talk about molecules, atoms, animals, equipment. Human beings are never featured in my classes. I only understand human being later on when I want to apply the scientific knowledge that I've got. And suddenly I do not know how to relate to human being because it is not part and parcel of my education, as it were. And we begin to grapple and understand how we then try to go into, application of that knowledge for the human person that we are supposed to work for. I think this is a state of knowledge now, And we cannot run away from it because knowledge has expanded so much. But the bit that we can do now is how do you connect? How do I, as a scientific person, connect to humanities? How do I connect to religion, for example, or other discipline that is now, quote-unquote, considered relevant because the nature of problems that we've got today are so big that there's no one discipline that can solve it. Be it science, how sophisticated the science is, they can never solve it because of the complexity. Take global warming, for example. No one science can solve it. No one arts can solve it. No one engineering can solve it. Then we need to sit together. And this is where the word sustainable development comes into picture. Sustainable development means how do you connect the kind of knowledge that is around you and make more meaning as to what the problem solving would be like. And therefore, our business is basically not only to know our own discipline, but how do this discipline connect with one another? And then begin to learn and how to talk to other people. How do scientists talk to humanities? Often that is almost like anjing dengan kucing, duck and fowl. We do not understand. We do not understand each other's language. And therefore, this connecting business, I think, is one of the basic principles of knowledge today. And we celebrate diversity of knowledge, and therefore we have got a lot more, points that we need to take into consideration when we want to solve problems. So everybody talks about AI now, yeah. But now people are saying to start AI, we must start with humanities. You don't start with science, because the application to human being becomes an important. And unless you understand what a human being is all about and what it is about to be a human person, then the application becomes irrelevant, in the sense that you could be, quote unquote, mechanized, or you can be dehumanized, as it were. Many of these technology that we use today are dehumanizing us, that we do not understand ourselves is a context that we are talking about. Let me give you a very specific example. Tell me when my 15 minutes is up. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Now, most of us have been told that we are digital natives. In other words, right from the mother's womb, we are now supposed to understand what handphones is all about, what these devices is all about, And apparently this is what's happening. When you see often enough, when children are throwing tantrum, what do the parents do? Give them a device, And he or she is quiet as long as the device is working. Then your parents or whoever it is can spend time with themselves and disconnect yourself with that particular person or that particular child to start off with. And this is what digital native says. But for a university like us, an Islamic, a faith-based university, I would not call myself a digital native. I'm a spiritual native. Yeah? And the understanding of the making of a human person, that I have got a divine spirit in me. If you call it artificial intelligence, I've got a primordial intelligence in me. The intelligence that is developed by God, that I know how to behave as a human person that is divinely inspired. So when you talk about ChatGPT, I've got my own ChatGPT that is divinely programmed. So within us, there is also this set of values, the set of how to solve problems in our own nature, and this is what we call fitra. Yeah. So as we talk about thousands of dollars being, I think very soon UTM will get about 20 million to do about AI. How many million do we spend on PI, primordial intelligence? Do we have a formal education to learn about our fitra, which is our own algorithm naturally built in us? Yeah? You can, on your computer, and do your ChatGPT, but you have got a ChatGPT in yourself, which is our kalbu. Our heart is where the ChatGPT is. But how many of us know about it and know how to work on it? And this is a disparity that I see today, that we are so into technology that at the end of the day, we will lose to technology because we fail to understand who we are. We fail to understand our own spirituality. We fail to understand how do we connect with other people in terms of spirit. At the end of the day, when everything loses, how do we connect with one another is our spirituality. And that's why I think recently, yesterday, we launched a book, SDG 18. Yeah? SDG 18 is about spirituality. We think your SDG 17 is not enough until there is an element of spirituality that connects all these SDG, because at the end of the day, to understand poverty, you must understand spirituality. To understand cleanliness, spirituality is important. To understand inequality, spirituality is important. Spirituality cuts across religion, cuts across culture, cuts across many things, because we talked about the same creation that God has made us, and that's a human person. And in that particular person, there is this ChatGPT. I don't call it ChatGPT, I call it ChatGOT. What is GOT? God-ordained decisions. It's already in there. We need to refer and find out what is that decision that we need to carry out so that we can be that complete person that was talked about by Sumaya. Yeah? that holistic person. We are not just an engineer. First of all, we are a human being. So we train people to be good engineers, good doctors, good lawyers, good politicians, if there's such a thing, a good politician. I'm not too sure. But I think we want to train ourselves to be a good person first. If you're a good person, then automatically you're a good engineer. You're a good doctor. You're a good whatever, because you are that good person. But once you're a good engineer, sometimes the human person in you is lost. And hence corruption. And hence all this disruption that we see. And the Quran talk about the mischief that we do because we do not understand who we are. And I think this is where the integration of knowledge becomes important at the end of the day. And we then becomes incumbent upon us to know just beyond our discipline. We may not know deeply enough, but we know where it leads to and how to connect. And making connection, I think, is what education in the modern times is all about. If you cannot make the connection, then you are just not there when the world is in a state where it is today. So I'll stop there. I think I've got my 15 minutes up. Yep. Okay, thanks.
No, actually, I still want you to elaborate, like, probably 1 or 2 minutes.
Yep.
Like, if there is, you always mention spiritual, so as in any field that we are now, for example, I'm in a legal field, right? So if there is one field that you think that regardless of where you are now as a student, you should combine it, what would it be? Means that, what would it be lah? Like, I'm pretty sure it's very hard to get into everything, but the gist of it, what would be the top thing that you think we need to always prioritize?
Well, it really depends. I mean, now, as far as university is concerned, we are familiar with revealed knowledge and scientific knowledge, all right? That is one that the university is embarking on, yeah? But there are others, between science and social science, between dominant knowledge, which is basically Western knowledge, and indigenous knowledge, the knowledge of the local people, you know? And these are all the various variety of knowledge that we need to know. And in this indigenous knowledge, basically, when we take our students out for Usra in action, when they go to the villages, yeah, they suddenly found that there are a lot more knowledges, quote unquote, plural, in the community itself, where the wisdom resides. The wisdom often resides in the community, knowledge in the university, but knowledge has there's very little wisdom in the knowledge in the university, because our cultural dimension has been colonized in many ways. You know, the values that we've got by the colonial masters, and we are now grappling to understand. A good example, I don't have time to elaborate on it. You see what's happening in the US now, with the protests of the Palestinians, yeah, asking the university to reform for the sake of justice, for the sake of equity, you know, the genocides, and nobody seems to understand in the West. Now, many universities, the Ivy League now has been, quote unquote, overruled by a new set of Ivy Leagues. They just announced 24 universities, which is now the new Ivy Leagues. And these are Florida, Michigan, North Carolina. No more Harvard, no more Cambridge, no more Columbia, no more Stanford, no more. Why? Because these people are not able to contain, quote unquote, the pro-Palestinian protests. And therefore, they just delete these people out. And they redefine the university, therefore, is this. And people like us on the outside, do we subscribe to this? Do we then put our own idea of what the university is all about? And I think this is where the whole issue that we want to talk today becomes very relevant. What sort of reformation are we going to talk about, given the kind of turmoil that education system is going through throughout the world today? Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Tan Sri. I think the world is also starting to realize the importance of spiritual aspect. I think once you get, I met a lot of people, because I think I'm quite lucky that I graduated from UIA, so you never really separate, you know, real knowledge and also your main education. But you kind of see how a lot of people out there are searching for it. You know, when you try so hard to separate science and, you know, the very reasons of the very purpose of a human being, you you get people who are confused. And I think when you are confused, then that's what happened. And people are, yeah, they're trying to find something lah. But I think the world is slowly starting to realize it. So hopefully it gets better. Okay. The next question will be for YB. So YB, in your opinion, is our tertiary education system, since we are talking about framework, is it heading towards this inclusivity policy, or you still feel like there's a lot of room of improvement?
Thank you, MC. I'd like to thank the organizer to give this opportunity to speak on this issue. I think most of the points actually I prepared here, I think Tan Sri has mentioned just now on that issue, so I don't want to take too many times on that. So I really agreed we still need a lot of reform in our education system. I think we still backward on if we compare with other countries, we still need a lot of improvement to go forward, to look forward, and we need to open our mind. Like what Tan Sri was saying, is come from the individual. Every individual to start. Okay, so this is what is my opinion on this thing.
But in terms of, for example, I think you have a lot in terms of the, I think in your case, right, for example, the disability community, are you satisfied with the framework of education towards the community as a whole?
I say earlier, still we need a lot of things, a lot of improvement. Look like for the disabled people's education. I went through quite a number of education centers. There's a lot of things, a lot of improvement. Especially, I came to UIA a couple of months ago, and I saw there's a lot of improvement compared with the earlier when the campus was in Petaling Jaya. And come to here was a lot of improvement, a lot of facilities for the special disabled people. So it's really encouraged to them. So I'm looking where the government is actually moving forward to the better for the disabled community to take their part. Like what Tan Sri earlier said, is individual, go back to the individual. Okay, the disabled community also must take very positively their involvement in the education to come forward. I mean, they have to go forward. They don't look, oh, I'm a disabled person, so I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, I go to the university, I cannot climb up. All this, we cannot go on that issue. Okay, we must look where we can take the opportunity. All right? Thank you.
Thank you so much, YP. Okay, so I think when we move to Dato', on the questions of, I think when it comes to you, people always try to understand things in a constitutional nature of things. So in your understanding, what is the role of constitution would play? What's the role of constitution, and how is the role of constitution? How does it shape a country's education system, and are you satisfied by it?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Miss Moderator, my respected panel co-panelists. I'm honored to be together with my rector, my boss, sitting here. But then, and thank you also for Sumaya for inviting me or having me here. My senior, Professor Rosita, We know each other since our first day. I was in matriculation. She was the first batch. When I came to UIA, I was the 5th batch for matriculation and the first batch in the final year. So we were together in the same building, like Mahalla, the residential college. Okay, this is a very important topic that I think this is a serious talk indeed, yeah? Then I learned a lot also from the presentation by Tan Sri just now. Of course, we come back to, we are the best creation of God, Ahsani Taqwim. So this is a human. Who is a human? It's the best creation of God. Allah Almighty has created us with the, as we see in Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 30, which talks about when Allah informed all the angels that Allah is creating human being, and the angels are saying, why are you creating human? Because they will create havoc to this world, and we are praying for Allah Almighty, but God says, I know what you do not know. Therefore, the knowledge indeed is very important. Knowledge is important. I hope all of us familiar with the Ihya Ulumuddin, especially volume number 1, when Al-Ghazali states about seeking knowledge. Therefore, when we have the rights from the constitutional law perspective, everyone has the right to education. So when we have the right to seek knowledge, therefore, education system must be provided. So the Constitution as the basic framework, basic legal framework for our nation, as we have, I'm referring to Malaysia, where we have a written constitution which provides for provisions on fundamental liberties or fundamental right, that we must be given the education. And the role of the government is to provide proper education. And this proper education is one of the important elements in a nation building. Okay, we're talking from the perspective of the legal framework. We must have the education system in the fundamental law, the ground norm of the law of the country, that is the constitution. As far as the legal framework is concerned, of course, we have some general legal principles that we have in the Constitution. As we all know that the Constitution does not specify very specifically what rights do you have or what kind of education that you should be given. But Article 12 of the Federal Constitution says about right for education. And it talks about, it doesn't mention in Article 12, it doesn't mention that it's every person or every citizen. It just mentioned the right to education. And the priority is, of course, given to the citizens of the country. And because education is expensive in a way, it's expensive. And when I was a member, I was what we call jawatan kuasa, apa dia panggil, pemandu, the steering committee. I was in a steering committee to develop National Human Rights Action Plan, and we had about 5 years plan. 5 years preparation of the National Human Rights Action Plan. It was launched in 2018, and after the government changed, and I think more than $1 million we spent for the research, bro. It goes to nothing. But then, what I'm trying to say is that the National Human Rights Action Plan prepared based on the Constitution and decision by the Cabinet. We plan to, among other things, is about giving education and the best system of education that the government should plan for the nation. So the Constitution allows us to have education, but it doesn't state what kind of education that you should have. So the intellectuals, the university administrators must also, the ministry must decide, and it should be run by the university or even schools. And the main purpose of education, if we come back to Prof. Explanation just now, is of course to make human human, and to make human as the vicegerent or Khalifa Allah. And the purpose of education is to bring you near to God. So that is the main thing. Whatever religion we possess, of course education will bring us near to our Creator, that what we believe in our religion. So nothing else. So therefore, education, which we have in the Constitution, we have in the Constitution right to education, but then it must be something which the education that able to prepare for the nation. Probably, if I was recalling what Nelson Mandela was saying, that education, this is among other things, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So I'm one of person who really love to read biography. There are a lot of biography, termasuk Tan Sri punya biography, cari through the surfing the internet, you have a lot of things about people. Sometimes Wikipedia writes biography, let's say for myself pun ada dalam Wikipedia. So Nelson Mandela was saying that the education of the people that will change the world. So does our Constitution provide so? Impliedly, yes, because the education should be provided. When we talk about people with disabilities, of course the Constitution says that everyone has the right to education. Then we have a lot of problems like stateless person, children in Sabah, especially because they are not given a proper education. Babi was saying when going to Kota Kinabalu or Sabah, it's a very serious issue whether our Ministry of Education should provide or must provide education for these stateless children. This is among the prime issue that have been debated by a lot of people. The stateless person, then there was a suggestion by the government to introduce free education, but the government is not able to give that free education for stateless children. So if you don't, but then the social effect is that, as far as the Human Rights Action Plan is concerned, more money should be spent for this education, because if we don't give them education, especially at the primary level, that will cause social problems to the community or to the nation. So the Constitution will be the document that will be the guarantee to guarantee the people's right to education. And among other things that that is the general principle. But then I want to a little bit bring some sensitive issues in Malaysia, whether there's equal treatment to different ethnics regarding rights to education. Some people say that, let's say, right to what we call as the special rights, the special privileges for the Malays and anak negeri, or the Bumi Putra, the son of the soil of Sabah and Sarawak. Should we give them certain priority, as the Constitution says that, and Article 153, the Constitution says that certain quotas regarding scholarship, regarding education can be provided for the Malays and also the anak negeri. And we as a constitutional law students, I will understand that the Constitution is a document to balance the rights of all people. Although certain quotas being given to the Malays and anak negeri, but the education should not disregard those who are not Malays and also who are not anak negeri. And the government has changed the system in a way. You give some merits using the merit system, and also establish polytechnics and various other institutions for the purpose of maintaining the number of, the students from different ethnics. So we have to go for that, meaning to say, although we preserve the quotas, but then we should develop other institutions for the benefit of different ethnics from the Malays and also the anak negeri. Because people say to me, we must accept the facts. We must accept the facts that there are some differences in terms of, there's a gap of education among the ethnics in Malaysia. And the Constitution provides so. So since it is still in the Constitution, then that's the supreme law of the land, then we should apply this. And we must prove that there's justice. The main aim of the Constitution is to establish justice to everyone. justice means equity. It does not mean equality. So that is something that we must think. Sometimes people think this is sensitive, but I think we cannot sweep things under the carpet. That is clearly is provided for in the Constitution. So basically, the law provides for the right to education, and the development of education is all to the intellectual, the administrators, the ministries, to develop what kind of education that we should give to our people. For the purpose, one, is to establish the nation that will be able to face the reality, as Ansri said, the AI, whatever, and to face the reality. I must mention the end of my presentation this round, I must mention that we are achieving 100 years of independence in 34 years. What kind of generation we are giving, what kind of education we are giving to our generation? My students, some of my students in this lecture hall, they will become the leaders when Malaysia arrive at age of 100 years in 34 years' time. So these are the leaders, our future leaders of the nation. So we in the university provide them real, ready-made leaders in year 2057. So 100 years of independence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dato'. I think people, the moment you mentioned the sensitive topic, everyone started to start up abuse. I think, can I, if I could, since we are on it, right? So I would take my chance also. Since as someone with a lot of friends from different ethnic backgrounds, I just want to, since you mentioned it just now, do you, personally, would you say that you are satisfied with the progression that we have made towards the other communities, or just your personal opinion? I'm very curious.
We cannot say that we have arrived at 100%. Even 100% also, we will go for the best one. So we can do like, I'm the 5th batch of International Islamic Universities, Malaysia. Proudly, all my degrees are from this university, from my matriculation until my PhD. So at least we have the system which has made us human, and we find that there's a lot of things that we can, we can improve all the times. Because life of human being, you want to get better. If you get better, then you want to be, others will be better also. So meaning to say, if there's no equilibrium in the society, if there's no justice, then there will be difficulty for us to establish our own nation and to make Malaysia, and to make every one of us proud. Malaysia is us is Malaysia. So that is what we want to have. Taking examples from Dusturul Madinah or Madinah Constitution, that justice is given to all. Whether you are a Jew, at that time you have a lot of tribes and clans, so the education and the customs will be equal to all. Equal means for people in the same box will be treated equally. People in different boxes will be treated differently. So still, we have a lot of improvement to be made, of course. I think in education, there's no one point that we say it enough. We will feel that there will not, we will not be stopped. We will not stop at one point to say that, oh, everything is fine. Because a nation building is that it's continuous. So it's a progressive. Is progressing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dato'. I agree very much. I think I read this somewhere also that humans are connected. We sometimes when we think that disregarding one thing might not be affecting others, right? For example, you mentioned the stateless community just now. But eventually, as humans are connected, one way or another, it'll show, they're going to be a rise of problems. So hopefully, we strive forward to, like you said, provide the justice that is there. And hopefully, not just in terms of the idea, but also bring forward it in the execution aspect of things. Thank you so much. Now we go to Bro Jabir Miftah. The question for you is, as a youth, what is your aspiration on the no one left behind in the context of education, and how would you advocate for it?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Allah, UAE, I'm expecting more energy from you. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I just came up from the hospital, so please don't tell my doctor because I got a heart attack last week. So I can relate to them a bit. And this is my first day out from my house after getting warded in the hospital and in my home. And just to clarify, I cannot really speak Mandarin. I'm still learning. So a trick in your resume is that you can put your language that you are learning or language that you can speak, and don't put the levels. So when they ask you, just say, oh, it's an elementary level. Okay, so going back to the question, no one is left behind in the context of education, so I'll make it quick. I was in 8 schools since primary until high school. I went to 8 schools, and I'm a UIA product. So before I answer my question, I just want to say thank you for my team, Youth Camp Malaysia. I really appreciate you all. You guys, tepuk tangan terang. Yeah, and apa tu, even your alumni is here. My mom is here. She's one of the UIA alumni, one of the first generations. My sister is born in UIA, one of the first babies in UIA. I technically was raised in UIA. I went to kindergarten, and I decided my university, I'm not going to go to UIA. I'm going to go to UTP. So, thank you, everyone. And for me, the reason why I mentioned 8 schools was because I was never happy with the education system. I was a rebel. I didn't agree why I should go through all this when I can easily learn it all from games. And I learned a lot from games, and that's how I scored everything. And my teachers cannot say anything. So I believe that there's a lot of improvements that we can learn from other nations, not from within our country, because we are quite retrospective in the way we approach things, such as simple as why I was asking myself the same questions, because a lot of my friends are taking O-levels. So why am I still taking SPM at the age of 17? Why I cannot join them and finish my school at 15? So I was pretty upset about that, and I believe there's a lot of others feeling the same. So I think education should be less for the masses and done in masses, done in a mass setting, but it should be more individualistic. And how do we achieve that? If you look at 100 years, there's not much improvement in the way we approach education. It's always in a group, and someone is teaching, and most of the time it's going to end up, especially in the virtual age, it's going to be a very one-sided conversation or one-sided lecture. Kan? I think you all can agree, yes? Yes? Yeah, except maybe the front rows, they're going to be replying back to the lecturer, but you're all at the back. I was at the front row, I was at the back at one point in my life, so I understand everyone, don't worry. So, I think, going back to the point of Tan Sri, we're all Khalifa, and everyone is Muslim here. We understand the role of Muslims, which is ihsan, which is to be excellent, to be the number one in whatever you do. But the problem is nowadays, we see Israel is number one in a lot of things, especially technology, especially AI. They are number one and leading the world in this, and they're just small, they don't even have big population. We have more Malaysians than Jews out there. Do you understand how absurd this is? So our role as a Muslim is to be the excellent one. If you look at Malaysia, we have the Chinese for China, 1.5 billion population. We have the Indians for India, for the 1.4 billion. And Indians, they are very smart. They have their own Silicon Valley, And we have the Malays for Indonesia, which is 300 million population. And we all can speak English, so we are global citizens. Why are we not a global superpower? Like Israel, we are bigger than Israel. This question should be, playing in your head. So, as we look and we reflect, back then, those who become the richest of the rich, the billionaires, from 1 to 10 billions, were who? Were developers. They develop the land, and then they become filthy rich. And after, the land was, the country was developed, and comes a phase of what we call the age of software, where the next richest of the rich are software developers such as Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon founder Elon Musk, and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk for Tesla, and and so on. And they were from 10 to 300 billion level of richness. Now they come an age where we call the age of AI. Software replaces a lot of things. A phone can replace clock, can replace, a lot of calculators can replace mailing and everything. But AI is going to be replacing a lot of things. And the next people who's going to be the richest of the rich will be those who embark in the age of AI and develop AI and become the leader in AI. And they might be even the first trillionaires are going to come from AI developers, impossible from software. So when we talk about AI, all this while, we've always been very retrospective in the way we discuss issues, especially on reforms. Have we ever considered to be more prospective, more future sighted? Because, I learned, wo chang chang, chu chi, hong wo chai. I learned this, wo si huan mi fan ma. I learned Mandarin in 1 week. I was always learning Mandarin, but it was always so hard. And I don't have time because, young people like us, I can relate to you, you can relate to me. We don't like to waste time. So I got an AI, Duolingo, that uses an AI, and I managed to speak an elementary level of Mandarin in 1 week, which I can bet that most people who go to classes, Mandarin classes, couldn't even speak in 5 months. So do you see how powerful AI is, and why is it not being pioneered in our universities? There is a technology, AI technology in Australia for engineers. They can create simulation and so much more and make your understanding of the topic, it can speed up your understanding of the topic in matter of a few seconds only, instead of you have to go for weeks to try to understand a theory that doesn't make sense. Why are we not embarking on the age of AI and become the leader and make Malaysia as the leader, and we can beat Israel? Malaysia, we produce a lot of smart people, but these smart people are being wasted on such a low-level skill jobs. Oh, a bit too long. They are wasted on low-level skill jobs, such as, let's look, Malaysia is the #1 for semiconductor exporter, but we're just doing assembly and testing, the lowest of the low. Designing happens in Israel and US. What is this? It's so bad. Imagine if our universities decided to do a very drastic reform and a very aggressive revolution of AI. Let's be real. Most of the courses that we see in the universities are not even relevant most of the time. Like there's a lot of new things that is coming, and we are just missing all of the boats because we are busy fighting among ourselves, talking about all these silly issues, when we should just be focused on the bigger elephant in the room, which is, what are we preparing for the future? We keep arguing about problems. People came 40 years, 50 years before of us. But who cares about them? Let's just focus on the future, and by the time we come, let's just replace everything. It's easy as that. If it was created by a few men in the past, it can easily be created by a few men in the future. And we are the future. So, if you look at history, most of the revolutions, most of the drastic changes, anything that happens in a short amount of time has always been led by students. Such as the Ivy Leagues, all the revolution, they're talking about Palestine. It's always the students, pushing for it. So if you want a future that is for you, that you create for you. We cannot expect people who come before us to create for us. It's you. At the end, it's us. They come with wisdom. They are here to facilitate our growth, but at the end, it's all on you. If you want a country where most of our friends, and And even us working at the low level skill, doing testing and assembly for these Jews in the West, then we can just remain silent and just follow what we want, just follow the system. But if you want a future that is for you, a future that is bright, then it is upon each one of you. It's your responsibility, each one of you in here who hear what I just shared, to go out and do something. Have the conversation. Find those AIs. Bring it, show to your lecturers. I found an AI, as simple as the Australian one for engineering. I contacted all the VCs I know. I said, this is something good for you. And they are very happy. They're like, this is very good. It is going to save their costs. AI is always going to save costs. It's going to save their time. It's going to make people happy. And it's going to increase productivity. That's AI. If not, why would we even be talking about AI? So, instead of us just waiting to be spoon-fed, it's our responsibility as the youth, since it is our future, to look into the future and bring whatever we can and show it to our wise elders. And they are wise. If they see something good, they will help you. So, bottom line, if you want to be an excellent Khalifa, want to be number one, you got to start from the basis of any civilization, which is education. And the basis of any university is the students. It's never about the lecturers, never about the staff. It's about you. That's why they're all gathered here. Do you understand what is the situation? What is happening now? Let's take a step back. Why is a Tan Sri, a YB, a professor spending their night here? You think they want to be here? They have better things to do. Tan Sri is a very well-established and decorated man. He can do so much bigger things. But why is he sitting here and trying to reach out to you and help you? The reason why we are all gathered here is nothing else other than divine planning by Allah to reach you. And I believe out of hundreds of you guys, maybe 100 people here, maybe 50 will be listening to the panel today. And out of 50, maybe 10 will feel like they want to do something. Yeah? Out of 10, maybe 5 will try to do something, and maybe 1 will actually be consistent and do something. And that is the one person that we are all investing in. It can be you, and it's even better if it is all of us. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Jabir. I think I agree, whether you like it or not, technology will keep on advancing. So whether you like it or not, you have to, in university or at whatever level, you have to pick it, and at the same time, balance it through the traditional, and also the still main core foundation, like you said just now. You cannot blindly take it without considering spiritual aspect of things, but of course, at the same time, things are improving, right? So, okay, thank you so much, Brother Miftah. I think we can move to hopefully we can go to the third one, but they will tell me whether we have the time for it, right? Okay, we go to the second round now on the tertiary education and autonomy. So we go back to Tan Sri. The second question would be, is this the same one? Okay. In a National Higher Education Conference in 2017, you mentioned that universities operate like a bureaucracy rather than centers run by intellectual. Do you still think that that is the case in today's context?
I think that the universities of today are not for education. We still maintain. The word university comes from the word universitas in the 11th century, when, quote unquote, Europe gets into this whole idea of education, learning from the Andalusian experience, where the Muslims developed education then. Then the university was defined to be, quote unquote, the trustee of the European humanist tradition. And many people do not know this. So at that particular time, if you want to use the word university or universitas, you must be the trustee of the European humanist tradition. That's the only option that you've got. If you don't use that, then you are not. If you are not the trustee of the European humanist tradition, then you are not allowed. And there is what we call a magnetata universitatum, a kind of a agreement that you sign, then you can become a university. You know, that alone will tell you that this whole notion of university and hence education is a lopsided thing. And it is still holding on to it until now, although the treaty was signed in 1088, now many, many years, they still stick to that notion that university must be a trustee of the European humanist tradition. Now, that is one. And the second thing is that when the Industrial Revolution struck in the 1700s, right, all university turns into, quote unquote, a factory to serve the Industrial Revolution, as it were. Now, if you look at the picture of the industry then, and the industry and the university now, the arrangement is all the same. Everybody, there's one felt right and people in front, and everybody looking at the lecture. And in the case of a factory, the operator is right in front, and the rest have to work on like that. Yeah. So the whole notion of university has changed tremendously. And this is why I think education now begin to sound like, quote unquote, a marketing tool. We produce no more human being, we produce what they call human capital, modal insan. And modal insan is another theory that talks about just economic imperative. Yeah? So that's why when I bring in this whole idea of spirituality, we're trying to find out and to bring back this balance between what a human person is all about. And me, as a rector, I need to meet some of the KPIs. And this word KPIs is not a university thing. It's a factory thing. When I joined the university in the 1980s, I have no KPI. We just do what we need to do as an intellectual, write books, serve the community, write papers, do research, you know, and we are judged over what we have done on the impact of it. I give you an example. When I was a student, one of the things that we do is to serve the community in the context of a tuition. I was in Penang, I was in USM, right? And we know the community in USM, particularly the Malay community in the rural areas, are weak in science, English, and mathematics. As a student, every week we will go out and approach the school and approach the community and give them free tuition, so that on Monday when they go back to the class, they know exactly what they are missing and how do they make amends. No KPIs, no rewards, nothing.
I think a lot of rankings.
We do this because it's part and parcel of education, as it were. Yeah. Only later on that we've got this KPI. Huh? Yes, and then the ranking, I'll talk about the ranking. The KPI comes in when the university becomes a factory. Yeah, so they think as much as you can measure this, I can produce 10 bottles of this in 2 minutes or in 3 seconds. Yeah, I can also produce like her in 2 minutes and 3 seconds because she's just another product. And what do I measure? I measure her own quote-unquote capacity without thinking that she's a human person. And we are supposed to be the same. And this is, I think, the notion of education now. But alhamdulillah, Malaysia is actually in a different category altogether. But sad to say, we do not recognize this. I'm going back to what Dr. Sham is saying. In our constitution, we talk about education. All right? What sort of education is something that you need to think about? And in Malaysia, at that particular point, we have already got what we call Falsafah Pendidikan Negara, which was initiated by a person here, Wan Zahid. Yeah, with the late Wan Zahid. He's one of the pioneers, he's one of the thinkers, and to give us what sort of education do you need for Malaysia. At that time, Malaysia was already multinational, also multiracial, multicultural. And in creating that falsafah, the philosophy, he has already taken that into consideration. There's a group of them headed by him. Right? And let me just briefly run through to you what is falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan. How many of you knows that we have got the falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan? Yeah? And what is it? Now, there are 5 elements in this falsafah, just to let you know. Yeah? Dia kata, the first thing is, dia kata, falsafah pendidikan define the pendidikan. Pendidikan, dia kata, mestilah berterusan, menyeluruh, dan bersepadu. That is education. In other words, education must be continuous, must be integrated, and must be holistic. Meaning to say, when a minister change, the falsafah should not change. Any minister that takes on from another minister, the falsafah must stay, because it has to be continuous. And this is what Finland does. When you ask why is Finland so miraculously successful, because they don't change their philosophy. It doesn't matter who comes. The philosophy stays. And therefore the thinking stays. And therefore the work stays. You don't have to reinvent. No? New minister comes in, they invent another new word. Beginilah, inilah, ini. Yeah? I'm not supposed to say, otherwise I violate the rules of, you know. Another minister say, and then they craft another thing, you know. This about that tomorrow, and everything changes, and everything has to start from zero. If the minister stays for 10 years, that's okay. It stays for 3 years and 4 years, and the next minister change, right? And dia kata lagi apa? Menyeluruh. Menyeluruh means what? It means it's holistic. That you train the whole person, not just the brain or the hand. You train the heart as well. And this is where I was coming in the context of spirituality. And last one, they kata bersepadu, integrated. Your first question. Do we have this in your school? Alhamdulillah, UIA has got resemblance of this. Yeah? But other universities, other schools do not have. It depends on the women offenses of the minister. If the minister is not educationist, it's even worse. You know? That is the first element. The second element, dia kata apa? Kita hendak menghasilkan insan seimbang. The word insan, not modal insan. Insan seimbang. What does it mean? A balanced human person. A balanced human person means what? They define what is balance. Balance in terms of emotion, balance in terms of intellectual capacity, balance in terms of spirituality, balance in terms of the physical education. These 4 elements. Kita panggil Jerry, jasmani, emosi, rohani, dan intellect. Look at your curriculum. Do you have these 4? The most we've got is IQ, which is intellect, and co-curriculum, which is the jasmani part. Where is the emosi part? Where is the spirituality part? We've been trying to argue this. They say this is not marketable. The people in the market do not ask, are you spiritual? Are you emotional? They don't ask, and therefore it is not important. Then comes pandemic. What is the problem, pandemic? The question of spirituality, the question of emotional. What happens to the mental health is because we are all not trained to cope with our own emotion. We do not know resiliency from our own spirituality, which are the 2 very important things to make human beings stable, to make human beings balanced. It is in the falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan, but we knock it out because we are very market-oriented. We want to talk about the KPI. How do you measure KPI of spirituality? Tak boleh measure, therefore forget about it. How do you measure emotional intelligence? You don't have it, you forget about it. You can only measure how many A's you've got. You can only mention what clubs you play, football club, and these are your jasmani. The 2 things. That dominates education. And therefore, the education is less of an integrated, holistic, let alone the continuous. We already violated the idea of what education is all about. You know? And ministers do not talk about it. We have got 2 ministers now. I've never heard any of them say, let's go back to falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan, which is the crux of education. Yeah? And that's not the end of it. The third point, they kata, balance because of what? Not balance because it's Harvard or Cambridge or Oxford or what. They kata balance because of the dedication and devotion to God. And they use the word God, not any specific God. And this is where the spirituality comes in. You know, I can equalize with anybody else in the sense that my spirituality is the same. You may attend to your God in your own way, that's a ritual part. The Hindu does it differently, the Muslim does it differently, the Christian does it differently. That's just a spiritual part which we are not going to engage. But the spirituality is the same. You know, you can relate with one another because we are human beings. And what is so important on this, dia kata, selagi kita taat dan patuh kepada Tuhan, you will have, and this is a word that is very catchy for us, you will have, dia kata, kesejahteraan diri. And that's why we take the word sejahtera out. Maknanya at the end of the day, our education will make you a stable human being with this word kesejahteraan diri. We will never be able to translate kesejahteraan diri because it's a very complex local Malay word that has a lot of meaning. It has 10 layers of meaning, right? We want to be sejahtera, not just happy. Happy is not sejahtera. Sejahtera is more than happy. So you can be sejahtera even though you're poor. You can be miserable when you are damn rich. You know, it's nothing to do with your material goods. It's all about your inner dimension. The chat GOT that I was talking about. How do you train yourself to do that? Education is supposed to do that. And at the end of the day, dia kata, kalau kita sejahtera diri, baru kita boleh menyumbang. Then you can contribute to your family, society, and nation. In that order. You start with your family first, and then you move into your community, and then you go to your nation. When your family tunggang langgang, don't try to arrange, don't try to put your community right. You already fail in trying to manage your family, you will never succeed to do your community. We cannot manage 3 people, 4 people in the family, forget how to arrange 3,000, 4,000 people in the community. If you fail in the community, forget about the nation. Because there are a lot more things to be done. But yet, we see some of our politicians, they fail miserably in all, yet they run the nations. It violates the understanding of falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan. And this falsafah, therefore, is a very, very important document that could have made Malaysia a leading nation, I may say that. Because it has already gone beyond 21st century, if you understand it well. But we have missed it. For some reason, I don't know what the reason is, but this university wants to bring it back. And that's why we use the word sejahtera. We've got our sejahtera academic framework. Yeah? We marry it with our vision and mission of IIUM. We marry it with the vision of UNESCO of the 4 pillars of learning. So that, again, it is integrated, it is holistic, and it can carry this university beyond just the shores of Malaysia. And that is what Wan Zahid is doing. And that is what Wan Zahid has been proposing, but not many people take it up because it is not within the ambit of today's education, which is marketable. Everybody wants a job. I understand everybody wants a job. Yeah? But before you want a job, you want to make you a better person, then your job will come automatically because they know. And IIUM has proven it. Many people will talk to me, I take your graduate because they're ethically strong, they're morally dependable, and they're very reliable people. They don't say that, yeah, they're good engineers, they're good doctors, they're good. Eventually that will come in because you are a good human person. And that is education. If you can bring back that kind of education, I think we have got it made. But it's a long struggle. Hopefully the senator will help one way or the other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tan Sri. I agree. I was reading something that everything can be replaceable, like, you know, AI and everything. But then a good human being, that are not replaceable, especially in the workforce. Yes. So, but that's, I think we might not be able to go to the third question, but I still want a bit of your understanding on the, no, it's not going to be here, on the Eurocentric idea of education. just a bit, because I don't think we have the time to go to the third issues properly.
I want to address the last part, the reforms. Huh? The reforms and
Can,
autonomy.
sir.
Just very quickly. Education is about reform. Inherently. Why? Education is about creating change. If you get a degree, just like Jabir, and he's still like he was before, he has failed in education. All of us come here with zero knowledge of engineering. Or we come out with being an engineer, being a lawyer. That is education, and that is reform. You don't have to wait till the Prime Minister say reform and we say reform. If the government doesn't want to do reform, we have to do reform because we are an education institution, and by that virtue, we must change for the better. Whether they allow it or disallow it is not our business, but our business is to create reforms. And this is what the university is trying to do. We have created this community, a new model of what a university would look like in the 21st century and beyond. And we're going to push this. Whether they like it or not, that's your problem. But our duty is to create the reform so that you, as Jabir said, will be the future leaders of tomorrow. You know where your place is because you are already being quote-unquote reformed, not only physically, but also intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. That is my business. If you ask me why I'm here, that is why I'm here. I want to ensure that we go through this reform so that that reform will make us, not only us, hopefully the world as well, a better place to live in, as we sing all the time, yeah? To make the world a better place. And how can we do that without a reform, right? So we are very mindful about what our role is as far as the university is concerned.
Thank you so much, Tan Sri. We go to YP on the next question. Okay, the question will be, people with disability should be treated as equal. This includes the power to govern their organization in the university, such as funding, policy guidelines, and others. Do you agree, or do you feel like there should be a limit? I mean, I don't think there should be a limit, but we need your understanding more on this.
Under my understanding, for the disabled, a lot of things is not fulfilled yet. Like how Tan Sri just mentioned. Ministers come, go. The things are there already, like falsafa pendidikan is there. It's go again to the special disabled. If you look against the Special Education Regulation 2013, is there. Then we look again to the Akta Orang Kurang Upaya 2008. Okay, and then under the section of 28, access to education, paragraph 23. Everything is there, but who is monitoring the things is taking place or not? That is a question. So what Tan Sri say? Ministers come and go, everybody important their seat. Their seat. They already forgotten about the falsafa, the act, what they need supposed to provide for the community. This is the weak of the things. Very clearly is stated in Acta OKU 2008. Why? In the last year, in the parliament, I raised what happened to Acta 2008 until 2008 to 2023 last year. What is the result? The minister, the government can't give the answer how much they achieve. I think Prof is here. She done some of the survey research. There's nothing, not much they can't give on this issue. So it's a very sad, sometimes it looks very sad for the disabled community. There's so many things is not fulfilled according to the International Act where we need to upgrade. I totally agree what Tan Sri say. It's very important, number one. Number two, it's come to the personal. It's come from the inner man. Okay, for the Muslims, it's called religion, spirituality. It's go to the other races. Okay, how we looking this disabled community among ourselves, among our community. I'm very proud. I will give salute to UIA for your effort, Tan Sri. The way you're conducting the disabled community, Orang Kurang Upaya, is really wonderful. I really admiring how you all arrange this kind of thing. But why the government, such a big body, government, with a lot of funds, why they can't do that? I recently went some of the schools to see. Last year, government announced, Prime Minister announced, all the school will get new toilets with the full of the things. But it's very sad for me. When I went to Sekolah Pendidikan Khas, nothing. Sorry to say that. So what I'm doing as a senator, I'll go school to school now. That's why yesterday, 2 days I was in Johor. I just back from Johor. Tomorrow I'm flying to Sabah. I want to see. This is my community. You are binding my community. You're ignoring my community. You are say all the school will get a good toilet. Nothing. Pendidikan khas. I not talk about normal school. I talk about pendidikan khas. When I asked the particular person, yes, money, budget is given, but very small amount. It's not enough to upgrade the toilet. If they can't upgrade the toilet, how they going to upgrade disabled education system? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So this is one of the major issue in this our country. I totally agree what Tan Sri said. Ministers come and go, but they must stick with the falsafa. What is the falsafa? What is Akta OKU 2008? They have to look back on that. Special educations to 2013. They have to look on that. They have to stick. They have to follow up on that. Whether it is done or not. Is done or not. They have to do that. But they have failed to do that. It's very sad. So to me, I won't live like that. I will go down, even though just now Prof and Doctor was say, you must take rest. I will take rest upon my job is complete. That is my responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, YB. I think we should stop thinking that it's your community. I think everyone should start thinking that this is our community as well. This is our community. It's not something separated, and it's something that we should take as ours and our very own initiative and reform as well. Yeah, and hopefully something can be done in the near future. We go to Dr. Syam Rahayu on the second question. I think Hakimah, she's very excited for this question. Recently, the Dewan Negara has passed an amendment on AUKU. So can you enlighten the audience on what is coming next and how the students should be prepared?
I to answer in a macro perspective before I focus the AUKU. I was one of the technical committees for the AUKU amendment for the past since 2018. Then various amendments have been made in stages of AUKU. Sometimes the first thing is some people have some misconceptions about AUKU because AUKU established, let's say, on the university's administrator's appointment of the NAP chancellor, whatever. Right? So some people have some misunderstandings of the AUKU. But I want to look at from the legal perspective, responding to YB just now about the act. That is what the Human Rights Action Plan for the nation which was created. Then we have to put the stakeholders, who's the responsible ministry for this particular act. Then we go to make sure that each act will have the stakeholder, who will be taking the honor of the law. So that's why I said, things has changed, the government changed in 2018, and then the Human Rights Action Plan was launched on the 1st of March 2018, and the government was changed in May 2018, and after that, political chaotic situation at that time, everyone was focused on who will have the power to become, to be the government, and all forgotten. I met one of the minister in charge of the law. I would say that this is an important thing for the nation. But until today, we are just complaining, we cannot do anything. But it's just that, of course, our duty is to speak. I'm invited to speak, and we always speak of the same things, that we keep on saying same things. Of course, if the government listens, that's good enough. But if you don't listen, that we have done our part. We will not be, but we'll be asked in the akhirah, that is that, whether you have done your responsibility. So regarding all human rights, issues, especially on disabled person, the stateless person, this is among the focus of Human Rights Action Plan in terms of education. And I want to go to the more general macro perspective regarding the law. So why legal structure, legal framework is important for education, because that legal framework will determine what is the purpose of education for this nation. If Tan Sri mentioned about falsafah pendidikan, I'm not sure whether my colleagues as lecturers here in this university understands what is it about. I've been with the university in 1991. After graduated, I was offered as assistant lecturer, and I did my master in 1993. I started to teach in 1994, and my first batch of students in 1994. When I talk about Rukun Negara, when I talk about falsafah pendidikan, I think my colleagues don't appreciate it. So we go to class, we teach how to instill, to nurture the understanding of falsafah pendidikan in our own teachers, not students. I think, let's say we go to IPG, I do a lot of trainings for the IPG lecturers, the Institute Pendidikan Guru, Teachers Education Institute. We have two things. One is falsafah pendidikan guru, dan satu lagi falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan. So guru will understand, the teachers will understand what is their, when they become the teacher, what is their duty. And when we become lecturer, what is their duty? So we in UIA always say that we are murabbi, we have to bring people to God when we have the integration of knowledge. One person with two knowledge at least. So we have Sharia, for instance, from the legal perspective, we have Sharia, then we have the conventional law. We have to integrate both. But do we do this is actually in our classroom. We are running to complete the syllabus, and the lecturer will say, don't ask because I'm going to complete the syllabus. I think that is the things that we have to, that kind of attitude that we should to reform. The individual lecturers also must reform themselves. And let's say, if you ask students about, let's say, our student wants to participate in any political activities or political parties, for instance, how do they manage their time? Also, I think lecturers also must guide them, not to totally stop them from talking or from asking the class. Sometimes lecturer says that if students ask the lecturer, just shut them down by saying that, no, I will complete the syllabus, then I will attend to your questions. But the lecturer will never attend it. They will never attend to the questions again. So the ability to nurture to make sure that the students also understand, we must first make the lecturers also understand the objective. I think Tan Sri has done a lot of efforts to make things, understood by the academia, of the academics in the university. And slowly, at least now, Falsafah Pendidikan is, well, what we call, is very familiar to our lecturers. Yeah? As far as the legal framework is concerned, to me, the Constitution, as a generally understood, the Constitution provides only the general guidelines. Then we have the Education Act. We have the Education Act. And even the Education Act, they will be supplemented by this philosophy. So if we refer to, and I'm a legally trained person, I'm a constitutional student, constitutional law students. We are talking about how the law to be implemented. The law is, the laws are dead letters. Unless you have people too, you have human being to give a life to the law. If the law, who is that human being? One is individual citizens. Second is, of course, people in the authority, be them politicians, be them leaders in the government agencies, be them the administrators of the universities. These are those people who give life to the law. Otherwise, the law is dead letters. It's not used. And it's not used. That's what Wabi was saying, that no one has taken it, no action done. So it remains as a law. Same thing goes like our Education Act. But the Education Act recently is very popular in terms of vernacular schools, history syllabus, and textbooks. Yeah? I'm directly involved with textbooks for Form 4 and Form 5, and I'm looking at the textbook from Standard 4 until Form 5. So you see, when there are certain things, and I think Tan Sri knows it well, when we make a textbook, and teachers would say, this is difficult for us to teach. It's not difficult for students to understand. Because these lecturers, the teachers, they don't have the knowledge. But how the law to regulate this? It should be administrative law. That how is the management in the education field, the discipline, they must have people who keen to have that. But then I think we have a small number of people who concerned about all this. And Prof was saying that, Tan Sri was saying that we are concerned about sumber manusia yang ready-made. Yeah? Dia tak concerned about the spiritual one. Well, tapi just to share, Tan Sri, I don't know whether I don't have much opportunity to meet Tan Sri. Certain other things which beyond the university's control, like MQA, like kalau in law that we have bar council to see what we are doing. Originally, the university was established for integration of knowledge. And most important laws like criminal law and constitutional law, from the Islamic perspective, that is the Islamic constitutional law has become an elective paper. And Islamic criminal law has been shrink into half of the semester. So it defeats the original intention of the university, that this university had been created. If we make this university for this, at least on issues of constitutional law and criminal law, Islamic criminal law, there are two core issues, two core subjects, two core disciplines that everyone must know. Who graduated from UIA do not know what are hudud laws. So it's something that we don't get the actual intention of why this university has been established. So the law will not be able to regulate it. So it provides the basic principles only. Now I'll come to AUKU. During my time, I don't care about AUKU. My purpose is, my first thing is that you must be prepared not to AUKU, but going to tutorials. Sometimes when I go to tutorial, what questions I start with the class? Everyone, how is everyone today? Semua sihat, okay. Do you have any questions? I start with questions, is it not? So some of my students are here. I start with questions. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to ask? This is freedom of speech in the class. You have freedom. But then you don't speak in the class. Mungkin other lecturers says, oh, don't speak lah. But in my class, you always have freedom of expression. You can speak whatever you want to say in the class. If I disagree, I will say I disagree. If I say that I can give them guidelines, guide what they should. So I think university also play a role to provide rooms for students to ask questions and get the academia ready to answer. Or otherwise, our students will go to the media social, we go to certain figure whom they admire so much, and that figure will, of course, influence what the student think. I think the role of academia is to give them the actual knowledge, the truth of the knowledge. And students must be able to be given the right to speak. But of course, with adab, ask questions intellectually with adab. And education is not very much regulated with law. If you regulate people not to allow them to speak, then we will not create the best human being that we want it to be. Because from the perspective of freedom of speech, that freedom of speech will develop intellectuals of people. So I don't know, in university at one time, I think all lecturers must attend student programs. But I think lecturers also are not interested to attend student programs. They will not. Or if they attend, actually at one time, I can't remember what year, IIUM was organizing, is homosexuality a right? They put a question mark. Then I was the only one sitting, and there was no other colleague to defend. When 3/4 of the hall, the IIUM moot court, attended by the practitioners of this homosexuality. So no one standing on this big issue. So if we shut down the students, we will not be able to create them as people, as intellectually capable. And we also train them to have good dialogue with lecturers on certain, the hundreds of professors that they can speak offhand about certain issues. And I think this is the law should not shut them students, should not shut down the student. So of course student must behave well. You kena beradab, kena faham disagreement dalam Islam macam mana, the adab of disagreement, you know. So don't be emotionally controlled. You must have the emotion in order for you to ask questions or to do. You must have the emotion, but you must know how your intellectual will control your emotion. So if the program is intellectual program, the law should allow them to speak, and the law should not regulate them or to shut them down. Regulation, of course, to regulate is okay, but not too much. Then the students will not be happy, will not achieve the true objective of education. So if we refer to the practice of our ulama those days, the students can disagree with the teachers, like Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Abu Hanifah. So the students create a new understanding of the religion. It doesn't matter because the source is from the Quran. I think we should have that culture. So how to do this? Of course, the training be more on how to conduct dialogue with students, because I think most of our students are influenced also by what they read in the media, and they must be taught how to read the correct news or to speak loud only on matters which has some, the importance for the nation. So amendment, of course, should be better, but students should also know how to control themselves. Remember, when you come to university, what most important is that you must gain the knowledge. You must gain the knowledge. That is important, so that As a student, you must focus on reading books, attending lectures and tutorials. When you meet your lecturer, ask questions. Ask so much that you can ask. Because after the university time, you won't have time to see or to meet intellectual people. And this university is the place, kalau orang Melayu cakap, ini menara gading. Dulu gading susah nak dapat. Where you must get the knowledge. Until now, let's say lecturer also should develop the practice that they go to understudy other colleagues. So that is how they develop knowledge. Yeah? That's what I did. When I think you must have a good connection with other colleagues because you believe in your colleagues more than people outside who writes in the media social. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dato'. I agree very much. I think sometimes we kind of disregard, or we kind of think, we look down on people's ability to intellectually process things, and we think everything is too sensationalized. So when we put everything is sensational, you stop people from talking because you're very afraid that, this is too sensitive and everything. I think we undermine humans' ability to actually have proper conversation, and that's why we learn how to actually address disagreement. Because you never been able to address disagreement, especially between lecturers and students. I think you can never actually progress new ideas and understanding of things. Okay, I think before we go to the Q&A, we go to the last question for Brother Iftah. The last question for you will be, do you think students' activism should be governed, or would it be better to be independent?
Thank you for the very easy question. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think we should be independent, especially in the university settings. We can hear Tan Sri was laughing and he's smiling. I think he's very favorable to us being independent in our thoughts, in our speech, and we should be comfortable, to share our ideas. Just a bit, I wanted to add on to Tan Sri's punya point about spirituality. I don't know if you all can really appreciate, because we all grew up as Muslims. But actually what Tan Sri was sharing was something very, very important and very, very fundamental to everything. It's as simple as, if you take care of your religion, if you are taking care of your spiritual side of you, everything else will be taken care of. You'll be excellent in everything you do. And how I can maybe share some of my experience. Everything I do is not recommended. That's number one. And but so far, Alhamdulillah, I'm still alive. I'm still kicking it, and I'm still moving around, and I can still pay my bills. So everything I do in my life, I put it fully to Allah. I fully trust God to settle all of my affairs. Example, when I was 18, I entered UTP, and my dad could only pay for 1 sem. But I told him, don't worry, I'm going to find a way to pay the tuition fees. But I only applied for 1 scholarship because I was busy working. Can I know how long I have? Okay. So I don't know how, I betted everything on that 1 scholarship, and in that scholarship, they asked me to write an essay, and I write in the essay, it's either with you or without you, I will succeed, because I'm a Muslim. So it's either you see me next time for your next follow-up programs, or you're going to see me in the Kaca TV. And by that time, I was just a student. I don't know what I was doing, but I do know that Allah is going to take care of my affairs. So I went to the interview, and then they were like, okay, it was a 15-minute interview that turned into 2 hours. And then I tell them how to fill up the ECC too. And Alhamdulillah, after 1 sem, I got the scholarship. And then I move on like usual in my life. And then after 2 years, I decided to leave the scholarship because our values didn't align. I wanted to start the NGO, but okay, this is my frustrations. Maybe this is the right place to share, because UIA is one of the leaders. It's a renowned university, and we have the rector here. I was very frustrated because every sem, the scholarship people will come to me, to all of us, and then they will be asking, how's your CGPA? They'll be asking, how is your mental health? How is your CGPA? And they're asking a very, very general, and I feel it's a question that is putting, that is diverting our eyes from something that we are trying to chase, because all of them are scholars, the people who got scholars, they have wings, they want to fly. But then if they keep getting asked questions such as, how's your mental health? People are going to be talking about mental health. If you're talking about perfume, if you're friends with people who sell perfume, you're going to smell good. If you're friends with people who sell lamb, you're going to smell like a lamb. If you're always talking about mental health, you're going to have a mental health issue. So I asked them, why are you asking about my CGPA? Why are you asking about my mental health? You should be asking about what I want to do. What is my plans? And then, like CGPA, you can check. If I'm doing bad, then you can maybe advise me, but so far it's doing good. Why are you always asking such a very, I would say, artificial questions? Why is no one really interested in, us students? What is our aspiration? And they're like, okay, fine, tell us what you want to do. I said, I wanted to start an NGO. And then they just disregarded, they didn't, they were very condescending. So I was like, okay. I told them I wanted to start in 1 year. I said, since you are very condescending now, I'm going to start in 2 months. And then after 2 months, Allah helped somehow. I don't know what happened, but somehow we managed to start it. And that's when I left the scholarship, because there's many other issues, such as my mom passed out. I asked the Chinese person, I was like, my mom passed out, I need to go. And then she was like, sorry, you have to be professional, you got to stay in here. I was like, well, what is there to learn in there? I learned everything from my NGO. And they're like, no, you have to be professional. I said, but my mom passed out and she never called me for help. And that's when I know our values don't align. So I left the scholarship the next year. And bear in mind, I'm from an underprivileged family. I don't have any income. Scholarship is my only lifeline. And I'm the only one in my family who is like, they're all hoping for me to be successful. And I told them, I said, khalas, let Allah will settle my affairs. I'm not going to be in that place where people don't believe in nurturing my potential or anyone's potential. I asked all the scholars, why are you here? If you are amazing young bright people, but once you get a scholarship, once you get into university, your brain, your mind, semua terus fikir pasal KPI, terus fikir pasal trying to stay in the system and not trying to mess up. Where is your creativity? Where is your aspiration? Where is your colors? And trust me, after they semua dah start kerja sekarang ni, most of them, they are going to lose their colors. They're going to just be building blocks for the corporate world. So I told them all, you all should be brave and should embrace your true self. So I left the scholarship. And how am I supposed to pay for my bills, for my tuition fees? I was like, don't worry lah. I will find a way to pay. But there is no, I was lying to myself. I showed 10 plans to my dad. He knows I'm lying to myself. He knows like I'm just being very artificial. But then I said, don't worry, Allah will pay. And then suddenly, after 2 months, COVID-19 happened. Who would have expected for COVID-19? And who would have ever expected in the humankind history, you're going to have virtual classes? And I was flying, I was having fun. I can work full-time and I can full-time virtual class. And then skip all the way until my degree. Alhamdulillah, I finished my degree. I was staying with my family. I was like, Ma, I cannot stay in house like this. I have to be in KL to work. I have to find opportunity. And she was like, how are you going to pay for yourself? I said, I have 2 months of rent. I can pay. And then after that, I said, let's see what happens. And I moved to KL. And see, I'm still alive. Somehow Allah will show you, and I haven't worked in any corporate job. Allah will send you the help, He will send you the assistant, and He's somehow just going to make it work. Example, I lost my shoes. 30 shoes I lost. And I was going to my first job after long COVID punya lockdown. After you lose your shoes, someone break into your car, what is your first reaction? You're probably going to be like, oh, it's a terrible day. But I was the happiest man. I called my mom, I said, Ma, I lost 30 shoes. And she was like, oh, that's good. I said, yeah, that's good. Why? Because if God takes something from you, He's going to give something bigger. So what is that bigger thing than 30 shoes that I have in my car? So fast forward to example like last week. My business, okay, now I do business. I got offered a few roles berlakon, like a hero role, a very big role. I can fly. I got 2 roles, and Dua-dua tu I had to decline because I called my mom. Mom, they want me to touch hand. They want me to hug the girls and everything. As a hero, you have to do that. And then my mom was like, I let you decide. It's so easy, right? You let me. And then I had to decline because it's against my values. No matter how big it is, a lot of money, but it's against my values. Even though I sin, but I'm not going to sin in public and encourage and normalize it in the society. That's very wrong. So I also got a few more offers, but I declined all. So I do business. I don't know what business I'm doing. So I just said, God, I leave it all to you. But because of God's help, Allah opened so many opportunities for me. One Datuk introduced me to many more and many other business, and they all just keep giving opportunity. Every single month, I need to pay my rent. I have no idea how I'm going to pay my rent tomorrow, but somehow tomorrow Allah is going to give me an answer. Somehow that one funding from a government punya agency is going to get approved, or somehow, I don't know how, but somehow Allah is going to pay for it. So even for the next 2 months, somehow Allah is going to pay for it. I don't know how. So if you kemaskan your spiritual, I swear to God, and this is all written in the ultimate book, that is absolute truth. God is not something you believe in, it is a fact. Do you say you believe in a chair? No, that sounds stupid. It is the same as how you say, I believe in God. No, He's there. You use even the most critical, reasonable way and logical way of thinking, you reach to the same conclusion that God does exist and the miracle is unquestionable, undeniable. It breaks the barriers and the laws of time, space, and matter. Quran. So we know this fact. If your spiritual is solid, you believe in God, He's going to open doors that you never know exist. Give you one example, one last example. This businessman, oil and gas, he wants to do a very huge business. He have done everything that needs to be done, all the technical thing, but there's this one thing that he's been trying for years but couldn't succeed. This is a senior businessman from Petronas, and they're doing a multi-billion business. One thing, and somehow I met him at the right time when I just finished my studies. And then he shared with me his issue. Why would he share to me? He just felt like sharing, I guess. And in 1 week, in 2 days, I solved his problem. How can a young man like me solve it? It's impossible. I tell you, it's not me, it's God. It's fully God. In 2 days, how did it happen? In 2 days, we met the deputy governor. We talked to him. I was just there with the right people, with the right, at the right time, and at the right place to meet the deputy governor. We got something from him, and then the next 2 days, somehow we just met and briefed all of the Maybank CEO, CIMB CEO, all the CEOs, including Khazanah, PNB. We met them so many times. How did this happen? You know what happened? I tell you what happened. This is a secret. I woke up late. I woke up late. I got into an argument. I silap jalan semua. All these wrong things happening is actually the best thing that can happen, because actually God is fulfilling all the little precondition. For you to be here, you must have gone through a lot of good and bad things. For you to be here, there's 1,000 things, list of precondition that needs to happen before you can be here. And this is just another precondition for God to show you to your divine future, your divine role. Why you are here in this world, there's a reason why you're here. So in 2 days, I met the governor, which is impossible to meet. By the way, it's very hard to meet, but somehow God make it happen. And the next day, I woke up late. I kena bebel dengan my business partner. And the next day, I decided, okay, this day I'm going to live differently. And tengah drive, tiba-tiba tergerak hati. You know what, let me just stop here and check this place. Berhenti. Tergerak hati, you know what, let me call my mom. Tergerak hati, you know what, let me go eat here or eat there. All those things is the reason why I managed to meet all the Maybank CEO. And tiba-tiba berpuasa pula hari itu. Kan? Tiba-tiba puasa hari itu kan. I tak start lagi 6 hari, tapi masa tu I puasa. Because I puasa dah sampai pukul 12 tu, I have to come again to eat. And because I came again to eat, all the CEOs was there. And because I had the right people around me, we get all the answers. And terus, the problem was solved effortlessly. And I swear to God, it's not me, it's not even the people around me, it's all God. And we're just having fun. Once you let God take take the wheel, you're going to see everything just happening, and you can never be sad, you can never be stressed. Example, I got heart attack last week. I was so happy. I was like, okay, you're giving me a heart attack at this young age. What are you going to give me? Something bigger. I believe something bigger is going to happen. Maybe that bigger things is not great in our eyes, but maybe that bigger things is as simple as my little brother is going to be inspired to eat healthier. You know, you never know. But there's a reason for every single thing, and you have to solidify your spiritual, how to say it? Spiritual, and I want to spirituality. If you solidify your spirituality, I swear to God, God is going to open doors that you never knew existed. Leave it all to Him. And bottom line, you solidify your spirituality, your character is going to be excellent, inshallah. And us as the students, if we are excellent, the institution is going to be excellent. And that's how we get global superpower and beat Israel. Okay, no, Israel is too much. They're doing too much, right? So it's up to you now, as one of the leading universities in the world. I would say in the world, because all the sheikh, all the Dr. Omar Sulaiman, all these big muftis, they all come to UIA at the end. Hey, you see Omar Sulaiman going to have a talk. You don't go to the talk. You come to UIA on Friday prayers. He's going to give a khutbah for free. You see Noman Ali Khan coming for a talk. Don't waste your money there. Come to UIA. He's going to give for free. UIA is literally the center of the Islamic excellence, I would say. It's like the Baghdad, you know. And you guys are you guys are UIA. You are UIA. Siapa lagi? Takkan lecturers, dorang ajar je. But you are the reason why UIA is, and they are the reason actually. Okay. We are all the reason why UIA is a global Islamic institution. So if you don't step up your game, you don't take action, you know, at the end, we can all talk, but then what's the point? It's your action item. What is your action item? I give you action item. Deadline, you put by yourself. Who will follow up? You put by yourself. Your action item today is to go back, two things. Number one, reflect. Reflect and reflect. Who are you? Why are you here? What is your purpose? If you don't know your purpose, then how can you live your life? Once you reflect, you're going to find your answers. I don't know how. Up to you lah, pandai-pandai cari. Second, number two is AI. Come on, help your lecturers. Go out, find the AI. Let's say you are in an Arabic class. Download Duolingo. Lecturer, this is Duolingo. And then let them try it. They see it's going to make their life easier, your life easier. Then use Duolingo, teach each other, and try to find ways to help each other lah. Find the right AIs, bring it to the university, and try to propose to your lecturers. Or even just use it and share to your friends. Those two things are very huge. And for the rector, my humble suggestion, maybe we can do like one commission of young people, like the youth, where there is like, their job is to just look into the latest technology and try to find ways so that we can integrate with the syllabus and make UIA as a number one. So I can come itikaf every year, and I come every year itikaf here. All of my friends are here. If I lose a friend, I know I'm going to find him next Ramadan ataupun next Raya. As simple as that. So if there is a committee, a commission of, you know, you guys, I tell you, TikTok, as simple as TikTok, you guys might feel it's very normal, but it's actually not normal. You guys are studying engineering. You think problem solving is something normal. No, it's something special. That's a valuable thing. Your knowledge on how to use Instagram, that is not something normal. That is something very valuable. As simple as that. Your app, Duolingo, you're learning other language. That is not something normal. And trust me, most of the staff or most of the leaders of today, they're not aware of that. They're busy with the big problem, the big pie on the table. So it's your job to come and show the cherry. So maybe something to consider. We can have a group of just normal students who look into ITs, who are interested in ITs, and we try to implement as much as IT and become the leader of education. Because no matter what we do, the wave of AI is going to come. We have to ride with it, or else we're going to be drowning. Jawab soalan tak?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Arunita. I think we all, especially for the sharing of your personal stories, I think everyone can learn and hopefully take something for themselves. Do we still have time for one question or like one question? So is there anyone in the audience? We can open for one question, is it? Oh, yes, please. You can go to any of the mic. I believe there's mic on the right and left corner of the hall.
all educators can use it properly or not, and whether or not the student have expectations toward the lecturers, that the lecturers should be able to learn. And I couldn't agree more with that too, that we don't have a lot of expectations from the students, that the educators should learn, should keep learning. How can you expect the students to learn when the teachers is not teaching? When the teachers is not learning? So please expect the lecturers to learn. And I really hope, I'm looking forward for more youth like Sir Javier to keep saying that we should have expectations, youth should have expectations, because your expectations is the one that will shape the education forward. And I'm looking forward for leaders that have expectations toward educators, towards education. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamualaikum.
I think it was, yeah. Is there a room for one more, or will we be done? You have to close it. Okay. Okay, unfortunately, the time is not on our side only. Okay. So I believe we have come to the end of the talk. So thank you so much. I had a wonderful conversation. It's been a while to have this kind of conversation rather than just do work in the office. So it's definitely refreshing. I'll pass back the floor to Brother Shamsul.
All right. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause to all of our speakers. Wow, just wonderful. Before I say anything more, I would like to ask brothers and sisters, are you still awake? Oh, not sleeping, eh? Or are you doing another assignment behind that back? Oh, no, okay. All right, I'm trusting you, okay? Okay, now, so unfortunately, our program is now nearing its end. I would like to invite our Honorable Dr. Shamsina, accompanied by our program manager, Sister Mia, to present token of appreciation to our wonderful panelists and also moderator. Let us welcome Tafadol Mashkura.
Sorry.
Yes.
Because just now she shared her views. I would like to say thank you to our professor. Really appreciate your views and completely agree with everything you said. Expectation to everyone. Huh? Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Now let us proceed. For Dr. Shamsina to go to the stage. For our first panelist, I would like to welcome Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector of IIUM, to accept our token of appreciation. All right, give a round of applause to our beloved rector.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Next, we'd like to invite Yang Berhormat Senator Tuan Isayah D. Jacob. Next, Dr. Syamrahayu Abdul Aziz. Oh, we have something special for Dr. Syamrahayu, a bouquet of flowers. Wow, all right. And not to forget our youth idol up there, Brother Jabir Miftah. And for such a commendable composure to steer this event, I would like to invite our moderator, Sister Farida Hanil. Okay, now I would like to invite all speakers and also moderator to move a bit to the front so that we could have a picture together. Okay. All right. Photographers, you may take the pictures now. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I would like to invite all. Yeah, thank you. I would like to invite all of our panelists and speakers down from the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Before we proceed with our photography session, we would like to also appreciate our special guest today, Professor Dr. Rosita Muhammad Amin from the DSU IIUM. So, Dr. Shamsina, you may give our token of appreciation as well to Professor Dr. Rosita. Give a round of applause to our professor. She's willing to come to our program tonight. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Rosita Muhammad Amin. Now, the moment we've been waiting for actually, so you guys can also be included into the pictures as well. So let's proceed with our photography session. Photographers, you may come on stage. For all panelists and speakers, you may be seated as well for our photography session. Okay, so for our photography session, I would like for every audience here, brothers and sisters, to stand up and move to the front row.